occasion, and it's a message to Monsanto. I am my own nation, with self-determination, a voice and my own boundaries. You cannot encroach your mad science here. There will be no splicing, dicing, forceful injections to sterilize this free will. Your campaign of violence will never silence the power and song of sovereign landscapes. Your campaign to dominate remaining pockets of land-based beauty will fail. Your twisted esteem has yet to see the power of ecology boomerang back at you with all the breadth and balance of pure reciprocal pollinators. It's funny, the audacity, that monoculture mentality, for it's in our inherent biodiversity that the hungry will be fed. It's the garden of truth in our hearts that will keep our encoded memories from being bled, carried out in sterile labs where viruses are shot with intentional precision, enacting double helix holocausts on seeds we are supposed to protect. Your poisoning of generations is a toxic war crime, carried over from your shameful days of bombarding veterans and civilians with an agent called Orange, whose children with disabilities have yet to see justice in their daily sunrise. Your poisoning of future generations will go no further, for while capitalism feeds you and sneaky protection acts shield your diabolical crew, we'll protect this, Monsanto. I am boycotting you. Watch as consumers change this tide, and the world's community will no longer abide. No one will care when your fields are set ablaze, and this place will rejoice as indigenous seed weathers its last era of tyranny. Our desert beauty genetics are as strong as our memory, and only we know how to tend and mend this land where our spirit is rooted deeper than you know. We must keep growing our own food, saving heirloom seeds, keep demanding these basic rights, and at the very least, change for mandatory GMO labeling is now in sight. Nature has our back, is creating Roundup-resistant seed, being classified by your people as a superweed. Immune to your poison is a plant called amaranth that has fed us through centuries of colonization. What a relief and realization that we are indeed a living civilization, adapting and growing amidst such violent supremacy. You can rage into oblivion, drowning in your own greed, unless you accept your deep need to be taught lessons of balance with technology that does not have to bleed. It is time for this first crop of a movement to flourish, for collective action to harvest truth on hollowed ground. Sweet fruit we inherited through natural law that cannot be patented. Spirit beings of all that is alive, help us get through these times, and we'll return to our sacred promise, our rightful place as stewards of creativity and land-based grace. We remember now when it is time to become warriors, when our seed is threatened and you have heard our mother. We'll stand our ground, carry solid intention as we walk in mass, for this is our nation with self-determination, a voice and boundaries, where only those with souls in the end shall pass. Kuntawaha.
Okay, thank you. And next we have Scott Pittman. He's from the Permaculture Institute, and I'll just let him introduce himself because we don't have a lot of time.
Hello, everybody. It's great to see this many people turned out. I was hoping it would be so full that you wouldn't be able to hear me speak in the back of the crowd. I started off today thinking that I would give a talk about how Monsanto keeps me in a state of agitation and anger all the time. But I decided that today really is more a day of celebration. It's a day where people finally are coming together and doing something themselves. We have depended for so many years on electoral process, on the selections of our elected leaders, and we find that Monsanto has carved this revolving door into our government, and that now we have Monsanto hacks head of EPA, We have Monsanto hacks that are sitting on the Supreme Court. We have people who are spreading a lie that they're feeding more people. It's not true and hasn't been true. That they use less poisons, less insecticides. Argentina had just banned glyphosate because it causes birth defects in those farm families that live in the fields around GMO crops. So we've got to, the only way, I think, that we can stop this kind of madness, and Monsanto is really just a metaphor for the corporate takeover that has happened in this country. So the only way we can, the only way I think it's possible to stop this sort of takeover is to have gatherings like this all over the world. We're not alone in being taken over by a bunch of corporate greed bags. So all of us joining together, I think, have some possibility of turning the tide. But I think that the tide is very high, and we have a lot of work to do. So I really appreciate every one of you that showed up here today. I'm going to fight this thing until it is underfoot. So, welcome here, and thank you very much.
Is Corinne Sanchez here? Corinne? Okay, come Corinne. Corinne is from Tewa Women United, and she's going to introduce herself also.
Ubiak Indi. Hello, everyone. I want to thank you for coming out today on a Saturday to support our community, to support our land, to support our Mother Earth. And so, my name is Corinne Sanchez. I'm the director of Tewa Women United. And I just want to say part of what you're taking a stand here for today is not just against something, right? It's for something. I hope it's for something, right? It's for our children. It's for future generations. It's for our Mother Earth, for all the life that she gives us, right? And so part of this stand today is about how do we claim our sovereignty? How do we claim our seed sovereignty? How do we claim our body sovereignty? How do we claim this for all peoples of the world? All different shades, all different colors, all different nationalities of where we come from. So we've traveled across this world. We've been to India and we've seen the devastation of GMO seeds. We've seen farmers committing suicide. We've heard their stories. We've been to the Philippines with a group of young people who are out there trying to understand globalization and the impact of globalization on our communities, right? And we saw the Filipino people who are impacted by hybrid rice. We've been to the World Conference on Women, and we saw women across the world coming and gathering to share their stories about the impact that multinational corporations are having on their community. And so for those of us that have a lot of privilege, those of us that come from places where we can use our voices, we can talk with our economic money hands, right? That we need to come and we need to take a stand for all those who are struggling more so than we are. So we're grateful to be here, to be present, to be walking in partnership with all of you, to really raise the awareness, not just around this issue, but really around connecting us around spirituality, around connecting us around prayer, and grounding ourselves so that we can stand strong for the battles that are to come, right? We've been in the courtrooms around Monsanto, we've been all over the world, and I think what really is going to make a difference is the policies that we make in our homes. The decisions that we choose on how we choose to spend our money, if we choose to actively be involved in growing gardens, reclaiming that history of ours here in northern New Mexico. So I really want to thank all the farmers. I want to thank those individuals who've been working for seed sovereignty for years here. We really stand in solidarity with you. And I again want to just thank all of you for being present and sharing your spirit and your energy.
Okay, next we have Luke Downing from Santa Fe Permaculture.
Worse than ExxonMobil. More despicable than Halliburton. Greedier than J.P. Morgan Chase. There is this thing called Monsanto. Worse yet, 5 persons on the United States Supreme Court think this thing is a person. Personally, I refuse to let something so awful and so dangerous and so unlike you or any of us to be called a person. Person is a word that should be reserved for human beings, for people. Monsanto is not and never should be considered a person in the legal sense of the word. It should have been jailed long ago, and that's how you know.